Hi there, Richard at Ryden's Room here again. What the hell, let's do something new. This is the cat bird that belongs to my wife, which I think I got her. If anyone's played the Walking Dead Telltale game, you will recognise it. So please do. That game is awesome and it's on every store, Steam, Xbox store, etc. So yeah, absolutely pick up the hat that this game has appeared, the game that the hat's appeared in. Okay, so onto it again. So Doctor Who Series 9. So much like I said about previous ones, I absolutely love how different this feels. You know, respect for Stephen Moffat every year, and spoiler alert, Series 10 will do the same thing as well. Every series felt different to last. Like, I even came across an interview of him where he said, he was asked, do you feel like it's your responsibility to make it, effectively refresh the show every single year? He said, no, I just want to tell a good story, but he was refreshing it every year, so good on him. But yeah, so Series 9, this is pretty following on from Series 8. Doctor and Clara are back together after a couple of Clara nearly left the show in the Christmas episode when the actress nearly left, but I'm glad she didn't, because yeah, this is her final series, and what it leads up to works really, really well. So yeah, Peter Capaldi's Doctor is still much like before, how he was mellowing out. It's coming in again, perhaps maybe a bit too much, but it works well enough. Yeah, I think it's fine. It makes sense that they're trying to develop the Doctor more, have him still make the hard choices and seem uncaring when he has to, but ultimately be much friendlier this time, and it still works. So yeah, ultimately this series is built entirely around two parts, much like Series 7 was all one-parters. This is the opposite, so it's an absolutely great idea because it really does give every story an hour and a half much more time to tell the story better. So it's almost like that. So you open up with, after the Christmas episode, obviously you got the Dalek two-parter, which is awesome because it's actually the Daleks have basically rebuilt their planet Skaro, and you've actually, again, much like before, got as many different designs as possible. Like you got the special weapons Dalek from the 25th anniversary. You got the standard gold Daleks. You've got the black and the red Dalek from the C. Davies era. The silver one from the original, which is awesome. You got Davros, played by Julian Bleach, who did him in Series 4. That's great. And it's just such love for that episode. And of course, the moral is with the Doctor, leave his greatest enemy to die as a child if he had the chance, and that's what happens. He meets Davros as a child in this battlefield, and does he leave him to be killed or not? Then you got another one, which is this under the lake before the flood. There's this underwater base of these ghosts. It's an alright episode. Then you've got the one starring at Maisie Williams, Arya Stark from Game of Thrones, the girl who died, the woman who lived. It's like this Viking type village. People are basically handing over their best soldiers to this army of people with robots, and about the Doctor basically doing what, as another Game of Thrones quote about John talking about his father Ned, you would do what was right no matter what, and this is what it comes down to. You finally get the reason why he looks like he did. Well, he looked like the man he met in the Pompeii episode in Series 4. And it's a reminder to always do the right thing, which is pretty awesome to finally get that resolved, because Stephen Moffat did say we'd get that resolution eventually. And then you've got a really cool Zygon two-parter. So this is basically a sequel to the film where Zygons are now living on Earth in human disguise. But then, of course, some effectively terrorist group decide they shouldn't have to hide themselves anymore and decide to start a war, which should not be happening. And it's got one of the best speeches ever by any actor of Capaldi, nailing a speech about how horrible war is and why you shouldn't be doing it, which is great. Then you get the one-off episode, Sleep No More. So it's different. It's a found footage episode. It's basically about, you take a pill, you get into a machine to basically simulate 8 hours sleep in one go. And all the sleep dust in your eye, which is obviously the stuff that would naturally, when you're resting would come out. It all builds up because you're not getting true sleep and turns you into a complete monster. It's a bad episode. The found footage idea is really, really cool. It gives it a good, feel. But ultimately, they don't stop the villains. Doctor and Clara just seem to leave. And then you've got what's basically a 3-part finale. 2 perfect episodes and 1 terrible episode. It is Clara's exit. So you'll see throughout the whole series, Clara getting way, way too into the Doctor's life. And even the Doctor is concerned of things. She should find a hobby or a new boyfriend. Because us humans love relationships so much, we always write songs about them. Which is awesome. It's so true. So, but yeah, you can see she's addicted to that lifestyle, but she makes a massive mistake. Basically, Rigsy, a friend from Series 8 in Bristol, he gets this tattoo on his back, which is all part of an elaborate scheme to lure the Doctor there so he can be imprisoned. Clara makes the mistake of not really paying attention to the advice she was given. Only the person in charge, which was Maisie Williams' character, can remove the remove the tattoo, which is like a death countdown, but no one else can, and Clara puts it on herself, which means she's broken the terms and there's no saving her. And God, it's devastating. Clara very bravely walks to her death while the Doctor originally wants revenge. She stops him from doing it, but he still warns me/Ashilda to keep away in case when he's angry at someone, it's going to be very easy. It'll be a very small universe. He could easily find someone. And then he gets the solo episode. It's just him, some monster chasing him, trying to kill him, and a painting of Clara who's like talking to in his mind. It's like the whole 45 to 55 minutes is pretty much just Peter Capaldi, and it's all about the Doctor's like secrets, and he's basically got to like go break a wall, destroy it repeatedly, but he has to basically be killed over and over and over again so his body can be reset. And it ends with him in Gallifrey, and it seemed like the only point of him being there, after like getting his revenge on the Time Lord High Council for their actions in the war, banishing them, is to save Clara from the point that she was in and pretty much wreck all of time. And it's just, it ruins everything, all his development, saw Clara die horribly, spent the next episode pretty much dealing with his grief, and then he just doesn't care. It's like he forgets he's ever like lost anyone before, and he just tries to change everything, and it's just a really bad finale. You finally get Gallifrey, and he leaves and never goes back there. It's not a good one. It's a real shame, but ultimately, Series 9 did a great job with having multi-part stories, and it's really two terrible episodes in there, and it ends with a good Christmas episode when River Song returns, which is awesome because this is her again before the library, but again her and 12 looked like a much more believable couple than her and 11 did because they're about the same age as each other. So yeah, overall really good series, but there are a couple of problems. I mentioned this before. A lot of sexism is sneaking in aimed at men. There's just a lot of line, and it gets worse in Series 10, but yeah, it's just a lot of lines ultimately about how women are better than men. Like the Doctor random in the finale, just to buy himself time, decides to kill one of the Time Lord War General from the film, who then regenerates from a white male to a black female, and the first thing she says is, this is much better. How do I live with all that ego and testosterone? It's like, come on. And it's like, there's just so many little things. Like you've got like men basically being insulted for like stuff they could never ever do the other way around. And why they were allowed to get away with this, I'll never know. So ignoring all that stuff, Series 9 is one of the best ones they've ever done, even with the two really bad episodes. One day the finale will get as good as Series 1's, but yeah, ignoring the bad, this is a really good series, and it's got a lot of humour in. It's, the scares are there, although it's probably not as scary as other ones, but it works so well. Good, and yeah, definitely one of the best of the entire New Who.